Shalom Eastern Shore. I am Rabbi David Tilkager with Congregation Maim Chaim, the Eastern Shore's Messianic Synagogue, and I'm bringing you your daily dose of living water. One of the most powerful things we can do to share the good news of Messiah is to let the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, operate in our lives. So many people have heard believers talk about the Bible, talk about the restorative work of the gospel. So many believers know all the right things to say and all of the external actions and traits to change in order to put on a good show. Unfortunately, often though, what non-believers see in our lives rarely actually aligns with what we tell them of the Bible. We have to remember that people aren't blind, and they definitely aren't stupid. In the world we live in today, everyone questions everything. And if our lives don't match up with what we're saying, then we definitely aren't going to get very far sharing the good news with anyone. Paul hits on this very issue in 1 Corinthians 2, beginning with verse 1. And we read, "When I came to you, brothers and sisters, I did not come with excellence of speech or wisdom, proclaiming to you the mystery of God, for I decided not to know about anything among you except Yeshua the Messiah, and him crucified. I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. My speech and my preaching were not with persuasive words of wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, so that your faith would not be in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God." Notice Paul is blatantly saying he didn't try to win anyone over to the kingdom of Messiah simply with powerful arguments or with fancy speeches. Instead, what does he say he used? The power and presence of the Spirit of God. Quite literally, he says, "My speech and my preaching were not with persuasive words of wisdom, but in demonstration of the power and Spirit, so that your faith would not be in the wisdom of men, but in power of God." In Acts 2, we see a very similar reality. The disciples allow for the Ruach HaKodesh to do the work for them. In Acts 2, the Holy Spirit falls on the crowd of believers. Signs and wonders occur. Then the crowd around them begin to ask, "What in the world did we just see?" We have a tendency to rely on our own knowledge, our own understanding, contrary to what we see in Proverbs 3:5, which says, "Trust in Adonai with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding." Imagine how much more powerful our effectiveness for the kingdom of Messiah could be if we simply got out of our own heads and got out of God's way and allowed the Holy Spirit to fully operate in us as he desires. If we believe that the Holy Spirit is active today, then we must believe it is active for the same reasons it was active in Paul, so that the faith of those we lead to the Lord will not be in wisdom of men, but instead solely placed in the power of God. Shalom.